Hello there, Aquarius. Welcome to your May reading. It's great to see you, and I can't wait to see what kind of information and insights come through for you over the course of this month. A quick note that you can always use this for your sun, your rising, as well as your moon signs. And if you don't happen to know all three, don't worry, you can just stick with the sign that you were born under. Additionally, if there's someone in your life that you care about, you can also watch this reading on their behalf. To all of my returning viewers, I just want to say thank you so much. It's good to see you again. And if you're brand new, I'd like to give you a nice warm welcome. My name is Ashbaugh. Each and every month, I create a reading that really helps you get a nice view of the month and all the energies attached to it. I start off with channeled information, and the channeled information is just using raw intuition. And after that, I look at the cards using a nice Celtic Cross plus an extra card that helps draw connections to all of the main blessings and blocks that are going to come through over the course of May. Then I expand the forecast to look at health, wealth, love, and destiny. If after you watch this you really enjoy what you saw and you would like to give back, please stick around until the very end. Right before the closing message, I'll go into all the ways that you can participate and contribute in this channel, ranging from support on social media to liking and subscribing to even doing a donation. But I know you came here for the messages coming through for the month of May, so I want to get straight into that. Without any further delay, let's talk about the channeled information. This month, as I selected a deck of cards and began to meditate, the imagery that came through for you was this feeling of liberation. And I saw you looking over your shoulder and then just running forward, kind of letting go of the past. It could have been a past love, family member, situation, a way of being. What I wrote down was you have a chance to really move beyond that and let go of doubt, anything from the past that might have been kind of seeping into your consciousness. Should I have done this? What if this would have happened? Or I wonder what's going on with this person. You have a chance this month to let go of the old ties and create something brand new. And I didn't get that this was kind of like fleeing away from the past. There's a difference from running from the past and kind of like embracing and kind of rushing towards the future. I get it's the latter. And I think what's going on now is you're finally able and liberated to move towards something different. And we have to sometimes give ourselves permission to try new things or to let go of old things. Whatever's going on this month, it gives you some sort of a resolution and a liberation on who you were and now who you are. And you don't have to see these things as either or. That was who you were in the past. You learned from that person. And now this new person is something completely different, and it isn't tethered by the mistakes, by the goals, by the ambitions, by the promises, all of that stuff that we do in our life. It's not tethered by that anymore. You're able to kind of have a rebirth no matter what stage of life you're in right now. So it's a very exciting month ahead, and all you have to do is trust that you can walk into this new version of you, if you will. And again, this liberation, it was kind of like the energy of the Fool, but instead of walking, I got this feeling of almost running towards something exciting. So I do feel like there's some good news or something that you're waiting to create that's around the corner. And I can't wait to see how it connects with the energy in the cards. So it's a perfect segue for us to get into the Celtic Cross. Before I do that, let me just mention that at this point, I normally remain quiet. I like to focus on what's coming through as I lay down the cards, and afterwards I'll pick up each and every card and break it down on how it's going to relate to you this month. So as we look at the Catalyst card this month, it's the Wheel of Fortune in reverse. And to me, this has a couple of meanings. The first is that it's time to sort of reevaluate money, spending habits, budget. This is always a card that kind of reminds you that there could maybe be a better way to be organizing everything. And it could simply be that, just getting a little bit more detail oriented, making sure that your record keeping, bookkeeping, etc. is where it should be. It's also a reality check card that encourages you to sort of make smart choices when it comes to vacation, spending, saving, etc. So this is showing that there needs to be some shifts, but it also shows that change is happening. The second big meaning that this can have besides money is life direction. You'll notice that on this there's a cornucopia of things. It shows all the different seasons, it shows different planets. What this is showing is, for me, usually like one revolution around the sun. The sun card can show it, the Wheel of Fortune can show it, like 4 seasons, 1 year. And what I think many of you are embarking on is this exciting journey where you might be earning money in a different way, you might be deciding to move, you might be changing up how you live your entire sort of life. So it's not just about your job, but it's habits, goals, aspirations. This is that shedding of the skin that I was talking about, and I think it takes us back to that message of liberation. So as we continue to kind of go through the cross, more of that may come through. But the first thing that I see is money and resources are shifting. And for some of you, your entire way that you are is shifting a little bit too. So you might be reinventing yourself, deciding to step into a new career path, a new program at school. You might be entering a different phase of life as well. This card can come in when we're like graduating college and entering the workforce, or retiring and deciding to spend our time differently. That's why the Wheel of Fortune is in reverse. You're going to have to kind of reset the cycle and think, what now? What next? That's where you can really trust your intuition. The one thing that I wrote initially, and I kind of thought it really isn't what it is, but I want to highlight it, was don't second guess yourself. I did put doubt in there, which was like let go of doubt. If you know what you want to do and it feels right, I really encourage you to go down that path. Let's look at each card and we'll get some additional insights on what it's all about this month. I feel like for many of you, there's a big decision. We have this card here, which represents the devil, and we have the justice card on top of it. So what this may mean for some of you is there could be something that has happened which just doesn't feel right, and you have to have a confrontation. And the justice card is simply that, deciding to bring everything into the light and move past it. But you often have to acknowledge it and speak your truth. And listen, the justice card is really great for any air sign, whether it's you or Libra or Gemini. So you're going to be okay. As long as you're sticking to the facts and staying level-headed, I think things are going to be fine. For the rest of you, this is a big decision. You could, instead of having some sort of a conflict, you could be deciding to let go of something that you don't like. Maybe you have a job that isn't fulfilling. Maybe there's a relationship that doesn't work. Maybe there's a part of your life where you're kind of engaged in habits or activities that just don't suit you anymore. Justice, either in the reverse state or when it's crossing something, can show that it's time to move on, it's time to let go, it's time to get straight to the point. And the devil card is usually something that holds you back or isn't allowing you to sort of be in your full light, your full truth. So whatever it is in your life that kind of makes you feel like I'm not this person anymore, or I can't do this anymore, or this isn't who or what I want to be, move out of it. That energy is right there at the center, and it really wants to heal. You want to heal this month, I feel, on many levels. Pay attention, speaking of healing, to your body. Some of you may either be feeling just a little worn down, a little lethargic, or the overall vitality, which is how you feel when you get up in the morning, could be tapped out a little bit. How much energy are you putting into work or into relationships or into worrying about all of the aforementioned? Whatever it is, it feels like you could focus more on yourself, healing, loving, and rebuilding your own strength. And that's going to go a long, long way. The strength card in reverse is also a warning from the universe that although your insight, your help, your intelligence is amazing, it can be wasted on a person that isn't appreciative of it. And it's so frustrating because I know many of you who tune into the channel are natural intuitives or are waking up metaphysically. And so sometimes you see exactly how someone should do something, or you know what's going to happen before it happens. And it's kind of frustrating because you have to sometimes step back and let people make their own decisions or their own mistakes, as it were. And the older you get, the easier it is to know that you don't have to prove yourself. the universe has a way of sort of showing, yeah, that person was right, you were right. So you never have to say it, you just have to kind of wait, and at a certain point, if people really need and want your help, they're gonna come to you. So let them come to you this month. Conserve yourself, conserve your strength, and if you find yourself thinking or worrying or spending too much of your precious energy on something that doesn't give back, let it go this month, okay? In your recent past, you have a wonderful card that portends great connections with friends, family, and loved ones this month. We have the Four of Wands. The card was reversed, but as you've heard me say in many readings, this is typically a very positive card. It does show that you are going to have to push a little bit to make something happen. The Four of Wands can be symbolic of a reunion, a marriage, a happy sort of run-in with someone. It can also show someone coming into your life where you can kindle a relationship, whether it's new or old. There really is none of the sort of indicators of past, present on this particular card. It just shows that it's going to be something that's great. So do your part to make it happen. This is a little bit either disorganized or surprising, or you want to basically validate all the expectations before you have this meeting, if you will. For those of you where it's a business meeting, perhaps, make sure that you have the time, the location, and the expectation of what the discussion is going to be all organized and sort of sorted out before you get there. If it's a friendly gathering, it seems very loose, and so that's going to be a frustration for some of you. But the Four of Wands is fantastic, and it's a foundational card. So even if you're not meeting with somebody this month, this shows that you have the potential to attract a good partner, business or otherwise, into your life. And if you have a business or if you have something that you're trying to share with others, there's an audience there that's waiting. Again, it's just going to take a little bit of work on your part to organize and to clarify expectations for that eventual meeting or gathering, but it looks totally worth your energy to make it happen. Your crowning card goes nicely with the main message that I got when I was channeling, which was liberation. We have a Rebirth card, which in this particular deck is also equated to the Judgment card. So we have a Justice card and a Judgment card. When you have both of these cards in the same spread, there can sometimes be a decision that you've made that may be in question, or you may be deciding that something that you originally thought you wanted, you could have like a change of heart or change of mind. It can also show the aftermath of a decision. So here we have you kind of weighing it out at the center, and finally we have you sitting with it and realizing, okay, this is what I want to do. It's also just encouraging you to be kind to yourself and kind to others, and to maybe look at it through a different lens since we have the rebirth. Look back at what created a person or a situation. A lot of times there's someone lovable underneath something that has, kind of gotten out of hand, whether it's an argument or a person who's changed a lot in their life. If you can go back to why you originally connected with that person, maybe you can understand how they got to this point, and there may be a chance for you to heal or simply to let it go, because it does, death and rebirth are very similar energies. So by releasing it, you make room for maybe a better friendship to step in. The other thing is I see a period now of fertility and growth. You notice that big hare or rabbit in the front, and we have the Wheel of Fortune here. The reversal of this now can go in the correct direction once you heal the past, once you let go of something, once you just decide enough is enough. I really like that they combine the idea of rebirth and judgment, because when you decide that you're ready for something new and better and you're ready to usher in that growth, then it happens. But it is a state of mind and a state of being. So I think that this is your chance to change the tide, if you will. As we look at the near future, we have the Prince of Swords. This shows some rapid movement, perhaps after a period of languishing or stagnation or a plateau, because with the Devil in the center and strength reversed in the deep past and this rebirth card on top, what I'm seeing here is you're moving past this feeling of I can't, or it's not happening, or this is never going to work, to all of a sudden, wow, I'm having a hard time catching up with what's going on. So this is good. This is also showing that you're going to be required to take some action this month. There might be some decisions that you have to do, legal decisions, because a lot of times when we see a swords card like this come through, it requires signing a document, finalizing papers, or again, executing against some sort of a decision. So I see some movement. It could have to do with any sort of money or documents in your life, but since we saw that Wheel of Fortune in reverse, that could be a good thing. It's going to open up opportunity for many of you. I really like what I see in the ego for you this month. We have 8 of Wands reversed. This is, generally speaking, a very good card. It has to do with opportunities on the horizon. So at any stage in life, whether you're younger or older, this shows that there's a lot to look forward to over the course of this month. In fact, it's going to require some advanced planning on your part. So perhaps for some of you that's travel. For others of you, this could be just your social schedule is really, really picking up. And for you, as you notice here, I think if you could just tackle one thing at a time, you see this almost like a, like they're throwing at a target. I think that's the key thing to remember here. You can't balance everything at once. Pick and choose what deserves your time and attention. I feel like you're going to be able to get everything done. You'll surprise yourself at your strength. Your vitality should turn around and you're going to start to feel inspired by all of this going on. Have you ever noticed sometimes that when you have, sometimes it's like butterflies, if you ever have performed on stage, or if you're going to go for an interview, or if it's a first date, or even if you've made a decision and maybe it's moving day, for instance, all of a sudden you get the energy you need to make it happen. That's what I get a sense of for you. I think that's also what I was tuning into during the channeled information. It was that sort of surge and energy, and I felt a little bit of a flutter in my heart too. So I think many of you are just going to be excited about this, and just don't freak out, because when I look at your environment, we have the 8 of Swords. And for many of you, this is a feeling of, how's it all going to happen? You know, I don't know how I'm going to tie all these pieces together. This card, either the 7 or the 8 of Swords, I think it's come up almost 4 or 5 times this month, and it's usually in a similar position. Sometimes it's in the past, sometimes it's in the environment, sometimes it's ego. It's always kind of in the cards affecting things. So I think a lot of people are going through stress, or they're worrying about things, and what I see is for some of you, when we go into hopes and fears, this can then get elevated to one more level. Let go of this if you can, because there are so many positive things coming through at the center and even in the ego that I think if you focus too much on the negative, then you could inadvertently sort of reverse the positive flow of energy and abundance that wants to come through. And I don't think that's something that anybody really wants to do. Ultimately, when we look at the outcome, there is going to be a healing for many of you. We have the 3 of Swords. It was upright, which means that you might be facing some sort of a fear, an uncertainty, or a doubt face to face, but there's a resolution. Your crowning card was Rebirth. So as you go through that, you suddenly feel like maybe that wasn't as bad as I thought, or I'm so glad that I cleared and cleansed this from my aura, from my mind, from my heart. Now I can truly be free. And that's what I see coming through. So don't be afraid of the unknown. Don't be afraid of going face to face with someone who needs to hear your point of view. You have justice in the center. You have judgment on top. These are actually really good cards if you had a legal battle or if you had something that you were worried about. It's telling me that there's a lot of logic, fact, and common sense on your side. So use that. Allow that to be a grounding stone for you. It's really interesting that the heart in this particular deck is shown by the stone. And I feel that if you stay grounded, allow your heart to feel what it needs to, but also connect all your chakras. Think things through, feel things through, and then move forward without fear or doubt. That's what's going to be important. You don't ever want to deny the emotions, but you don't want to be beholden to them. Let go, release. That was the main thing. I didn't really realize. I said like rebirth in 3 different ways. Liberation is a chance to sort of be born again. Release, death and rebirth. Let go. Then we actually got the rebirth card at the top. So I feel like as long as you are allowing things to flow, to fall away, and to release, then you'll have a healing and you'll be able to move forward. One other thing I'd like to do is give you a way to overcome the Swords cards. I think they are always here as a blessing, but sometimes get a bad rap. The 8 of Swords. This is often just a fear of the unknown. Sometimes it's a call for you to be more transparent. The fact that it's reversed shows me that you're already getting more real and more honest with yourself. Keep that up. That's how you overcome this, because the 8 of Swords is never as bad as it looks or feels. It's simply a state of being, and it's usually kind of controlled by that emotion of fear. The 9 of Swords. Really pay attention to your quality of sleeping. Pay attention to what you're ingesting in your mind. So what are you watching on TV? What music are you listening to? And what does the surroundings sort of look like around you? Do you have a cluttered house? Is there a lot of chaos at work? You're absorbing things. The 9 of Swords could just simply be a sponge card. I want you to clean your environment, and then what you'll be soaking up will bring you into more of the Eight of Wands instead of the Nine of Swords. So only surround yourself by positive things. Don't consume too much negativity in anything. Conversations, bad news, gossip, anything like that. This is a month for detoxification. Finally, with the Three of Swords, this is about not letting your sadness pull you down too much, but also honoring what triggered that. I feel like there is a little sense of the blues for some of you this month. Whenever I see the Three of Swords, it can be disappointment, it can be some depression, whether it's a long-term depression or something that was brought about by a particular situation. And the other thing that I'm seeing for many of you with the Devil and a Death and Rebirth card here can be a feeling of, where's my place in my life? It can be mortality, it can be a midlife crisis, it can just be a question of purpose. And so what's important is you start to find some things that feed your heart, what makes you happy. And that's how you heal the Three of Swords. Something's missing in the passion area. I didn't get any cups this month. Do some things that are fun, let your heart sing, celebrate. If you do this, you can not only neutralize, but overcome those swords cards that we saw. I'm one of the few readers that actually loves when we see something difficult, because that means that you're onto something. You know what you can overcome. So you have a key this month that maybe some of the other signs don't. Work on those areas and heal. Let's expand the forecast and look at health, wealth, love, and destiny next. I'm going to start with the health card, and just a reminder that this includes mind, body, and spirit, so maybe we'll get some more messages about how you can heal yourself there. So we have an interesting card here that really mimics what I saw with the Prince of Swords. And so I think this month you have a chance to move on, and it says you are safe. The card was reversed, but I obviously want to turn it upright so we can read it. This is about not being afraid to take that step in the right direction. So whatever part of your life feels like it has been stuck, or whatever goal or aspiration you want to move towards, this is that separation that I saw at the beginning with the channeled message. Moving beyond the past, embracing the future, and allowing for things to start to open up and expand. It requires a step on your part, and that's what this card is saying. You're okay, it's all right. This is a confirmation that change is not only acceptable, but also really, really beneficial for you this month. One last message with that, since it is talking about safety, if you're ever put in a situation where you don't feel protected or supported or, in fact, safe, this card is giving you a very, very big beacon, warning sign that it's okay. And in fact, again, you need to get to something that makes you feel better, supported, safe. So absolutely move away from a relationship, a job, a living situation, or any sort of environment that somehow puts you in a position of feeling not safe, not well. That's the main message there as well. So I wanted to highlight that before we move on. All right, let's move along now to wealth and see what's coming through as far as opportunities, maybe self-worth, and money as well. In the wealth position here, we have a card that's encouraging you to use your voice, use your power. It says, don't back down, stand up for what you believe is right. And that's exactly what I've been kind of harping on for a while here. And I think this goes to kind of underline the justice card and the judgment card, and telling you and affirming to you that whatever you think you need to be doing, you're on the right track. There's a lot of confirmation this month. I think some of you are just really worried about that because either you're a perfectionist or you really have a stake in something and you want it to go well. So know that if that's the case, you just have to follow through. That could be just healthy butterflies about anything that is new or uncertain on the horizon. For the rest of you, this is a card of defending yourself, speaking up, and making the appropriate change or action in your life to better yourself. So if you're younger and you want to try something that is challenging what your parents or the society around you thinks you should be doing, follow your heart. You notice she's sort of kindling a fire close to her heart. This is something that you feel passionate about. And if there's something you want to do this month in general, do it. This is a really good card, especially if it's just about like taking a trip, learning something, experimenting and trying a different path in life that you haven't before. Change is an inevitability as I'm looking at this spread. You're crowned by rebirth. So it's important for you to continue to evolve, to try new things, to spread your wings, and to kind of kindle that inner rebellious spirit that maybe you haven't felt since you were a little kid. Don't be afraid to nurture that inner child. And this could be what's necessary for the healing. Maybe you didn't receive the support that you needed, or maybe there's a part of you that only you can help kind of nurture and create. Because at a certain point, that's really what self-sufficiency and independence is. You become sort of your own mother, father, and you understand that you have everything that it takes. And so that's part of this message too, is there's a lot of inner strength. Don't second guess yourself. And because that came through in your wealth area, it's important that you value yourself, you value your opinions. And I would also say, if there is somebody that's trying to make you do something with your money, or force you into a job, or force you to make a decision at a job that doesn't feel right, always stand up for your belief. Because at the end of the day, that's what's going to stick with you, not pleasing that person. It's going to be your record, your life, and so you'll never regret following your heart. Let's go ahead now and take a look at love, speaking of matters of the heart. This is going to not only encompass romantic relationships, but just how you use love in your day-to-day personal relationships with friends, with family, and with loved ones. So the honeymoon card here in love directly connects to the Four of Wands. There's a great celebration or opportunity or reunion, or just a chance to attract a better audience or partnership that comes through this month. Embrace that energy. This is showing to me that it will be worth whatever sort of effort you put forth in order to make it happen. If you're someone who's been pulling back a little bit, maybe you've had a recent loss or a breakup, that's what the Three of Swords can indicate, or a health issue that kind of crept in. As you start to get out a little bit, even if you're just connecting with old friends and family, this is going to be a chance for you to get back into that sense of nostalgia of the past, of maybe some things that were good, and you can bring what you need to into the present, and also let go of whatever it was. Sometimes when we see someone, that we haven't met in a long time, whatever ill will that we had or whatever sort of drama that once existed, you may see during this chance encounter that they've moved on, and maybe you have too. And if it's somebody new in your life, the honeymoon card really portends a nice period of time where you should just enjoy yourself. No matter what, I think a trip, a vacation, some sort of an excursion would be great for you, because it will open the heart space. And I think for some of you, again, there needs to be some healing or some opening in that area. So do whatever it takes this month to allow your heart to expand, and especially if it's connecting with new or old friends, that's going to be really, really beneficial, and it will help you overcome some of the challenges that we saw in those swords cards. Let's go ahead now and take a look at your destiny card. Destiny is a chance for you to sort of look at the path that you're headed on, decide if you like it, and if not, there'll be a message here as well. So without any further delay, let's give the cards a shuffle. Actually, you had two, so I'm going to let them both come through. The first card that came through was this stillness card, which for some of you could indicate that period of a lack of growth, stagnation, plateau that I talked about earlier. Sometimes that's seen as a frustrating thing, particularly if you're kind of an overachiever or if you just expect constant evolution to happen in your life. Stillness, however, is really essential. When I did my yoga teacher training a few years back, I remember the instructor talking about sort of how metaphysical growth and awakening happens. You'll spiral up a little bit, and then you have to come down half a notch and sit for a while to allow your body, your mind, and your energy to integrate that new knowledge. Then you can make the next movement. I think many of you have been in a position where you needed to kind of learn some lessons, and what's happening now is you recognize your own power. And if you start to make a habit of positive thoughts, manifesting these thoughts by continuing to create new habits in your life that engage this new energy of creation, of believing in yourself, of understanding that you are not having this sort of life happen around you. You are the creator of it. So I want you to own this and start to invoke, to manifest, and to bring forth what it is that you want. And it starts by having fun. It starts by cherishing what's good in your life, and also by kind of fighting for your voice, what it is that I feel some of you in the deep past may have had someone who made you lose your voice. It could have been a parent, could have been a partner, could have been a lot of people in your life. Now it's time for you to find better relationships, better connections, and to now use that voice, that energy, that rebellious spirit from the past, and find your own future, something that really makes you happy. And this is ultimately bringing us back to that story of liberation. So let's go ahead now. This is a great time for us to do a quick review of everything, and then we will wrap up this reading. Your channeled message this month was all about liberation, releasing the past and letting go of doubt. We saw an echo of this when we were looking at the catalyst, which is a chance for you to take this Wheel of Fortune in reverse and turn it in the upright position. Start to change the direction of your life. Really also starting to own your own self-worth. We saw that also here with the invocation card. Once you believe that you can create, you can actually begin to create and manifest. The Devil card at the center has less to do whether you're wrong or right, and more to do with the timing of when you want to take action. Anything that's holding you back or not allowing you to go down the path that you desire, this is the month to shift and to make that decision. Once you do that, once you sort of decide to walk away or sign the document or whatever it is that's required to allow for this to happen, then all sorts of new opportunities start to flow in. When I look at the deep past, many of you may be second guessing yourself, but I feel that when you start to own it, it's going to help your money situation. Your wealth will increase and improve, and your abundance will as well. There's something great to look forward to this month with respect to relationships across the board. We have the Four of Wands in reverse, which does show a little bit of adjustment and a little bit of planning necessary for this, but ultimately it's going to be something that either connects you to people that you love, and it brings you this sense of nostalgia, which many of you may want or need, or it allows for something really great to step in and replace a loss that some of you may have felt as well. Speaking of that, we have a Rebirth card here, which is also the Judgment card. This kind of boils down to a decision that has really big effects on your life, and taking a leap of faith for many of you. Just know that I see fertility underneath this, so I'm not so worried about the money in the long run. It's more about self-worth and a decision that will enable you to be free and move forward. The Prince of Swords, we talked about this. It can be about legal engagements. It can also just be about decisions. But once you've made that jump or that leap in that direction, everything flows through after it. There's a lot going on in your life this month. You have more than enough energy to handle it. Just remember, transparency is key. Your environment and the energy in your environment is also key. And it's important to have some fun. This will help you move through some of the difficult energy we saw here in the final cards. When we expand the forecast, it's important to not only do things that make you happy and know that it's okay to make that leap of faith, but also make sure that you are safe and that you are supported. If anyone makes you doubt that or feel that you are less than, it's time to move on, particularly when it comes to work. Don't do something just because someone tells you to do it. If they're in the wrong, then you have to realize with justice and judgment here, this is a time where you have to really act by the letter of the law. So better to disappoint them and restore your sort of long-term reputation than to do something that you're going to regret in the long term. As I said, with the honeymoon card, have some fun, engage with people that you really want to this month, knowing that anytime you kind of go out of your comfort zone and try to be a friend to someone, I feel like it's going to pay off this month. The stillness that may have kind of plagued many of you in the past seems to be replaced now by a sense of newfound strength, self-empowerment, and an understanding that you, much like the High Priestess card, with this ceremony, with this invocation, with this belief in yourself, you can start to make changes happen in your life. I'm really excited for all that came through this month. I feel like you got some positive notes about, again, friendship and relationship. You got a little bit of push in some areas to make a decision, to make things happen, to get real when it comes to your budget, with your finances, and most importantly, to do some internal healing. And I think it was those swords cards that I'm most grateful for, because the note about transparency, about the environment, and about having some fun and really owning your power, I think these are the strongest messages that could come through, because they give you tangible things that you can do to make your life better. Anyway, I hope you got the information that you needed this month to navigate both the blessings and the blocks that came through. If you ever feel like you need a little bit more support in your life, or you have some questions, maybe about a big career decision or your own spiritual development, I'd be happy to chat with you. You can click on the first card in the video or the first link below it, and this will take you to my booking site. You can take a look at the rates and availability there, and if you decide to book an appointment, I can't wait to chat with you. If you'd like to give back in a different way, I mentioned at the beginning to stick around until the end. This is the part that I was talking about. You can click on the second card or the second link below the video, and this will take you to my website, and from there you can do a donation. Either one time, like $1 for the whole year, or you could do something recurring on Patreon. And what this does is not only does it help me buy cool new decks like this, it also, more importantly, helps me set up the time necessary for these videos. They usually take around 5 hours, and I typically do one per day. Sometimes I can do two, but I, on average, spend about 12 days per month making all of this possible, because at the end, then I rewatch everything to make sure that it all flows. So know that when you give me a little bit extra as far as donations go, I can take my time and do longer production for each video. And this month I was able to do that. You'll notice that a lot of them go almost to 35 to 40 minutes. So for all of you that have donated in the past, you're the reason why I was able to put out really high quality videos this month. And if you'd like to ensure that this quality continues in the future, please consider clicking on that second link and giving whatever feels comfortable to you. Another way to make a difference is simply to click like and subscribe. This lets YouTube and also me know that this is making a difference for you. And if you'd like to support me on social media, I would love for you to join me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and my newsletter. Click on that third card or the third link, and you can find all of the relevant connections on that page. Also, if you found that this was a really helpful reading and you'd like others to benefit from it, when you share that on your social media network, it really makes an impact. So whether you tweet out one of my messages on Twitter or you share it on your Facebook feed, just know that I really, really appreciate it. You can also tag people on Instagram. This helps me reach a larger audience, and it also allows for me to really do what I'm showing up here each month to do: help people find their inner light, kindle their own metaphysical capabilities, and hopefully inspire other people. I want a planet of light workers and teachers, and I'm hoping to make some sort of an impact in allowing that to happen. With that being said, let's now move on to your closing note. I want to really focus on the invocation card. It was the sort of accidental card that I decided to pull because it was sticking to another one. It's important that you own your power. To me, this is just like the High Priestess. And when you start to believe in yourself and consistently plant positive thoughts in your heart, in your mind, and start to kind of, again, clear up even your environment around you, then you get into a higher frequency, and people around you also start to get into that higher frequency. If you do this, then that reinvention that we saw here with the Rebirth card is at your disposal. You'll be able to start to do that, and I think that that's going to help many of you when it comes to worth and self-worth. And I really want that to happen, since that was in the catalyst. I think you can turn things around simply by deciding enough is enough with whatever isn't working, and start to decide, I can do this, whether it's getting training, going out on my own, getting a better job, standing up to someone who's doing something wrong, or simply being a stronger person and making sure people hear me and respect me. Because guess what? Your voice matters, and your energy and your influence is going to matter as well when you start to stand up for yourself. This is going to attract that higher frequency partner and or partnership that you've been seeking, and you're just going to be a heck of a lot happier. Thanks again for allowing me to be a part of your journey. It means a lot that you spent the last half hour or almost 40 minutes with me. You have a lot of choices here on YouTube, and I'm honored that you chose me. Keep shining brightly, keep inspiring others in your life, and until next month, I'll see you soon. Take care of yourselves.